Well. Clemson Tiger fans, college football fans, welcome back to another episode of the Clemson Tigers All In Show here on the Voice of College Football Clemson YouTube channel. I am your host, Jordan Bowman. I'll be joined shortly by my co-host, Tiger Paul Craven. He's doing a me impersonation right now. He's going to be joining the show from his vehicle. He's had a busy day and he's got some stuff going on later tonight. So he's going to be joining us from the car. So it's going to be a really fun show tonight. Obviously, a lot to talk about. You just got a commitment yesterday, possibly getting another one tomorrow. We're going to be talking about that as well. But before we get into all of that, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. It's on the banner, on the little ticker, if you haven't already, because it really helps the show out. Make sure you guys share these live shows with other Clemson Tigers fans as well, and really just any other college football fans, because we welcome any other fans. We want to get we're trying to build a community here, and we want to get as many people in as possible. But yeah, I see a couple people already in the chat. I see John, one of our regulars, Ben, our local Michigan fan, not me, in the chat as well. Man, it's a good day to be a Clemson Tiger. But without further ado, I'm going to bring on my co-host, Tiger Paul Craven. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, what's up? How you doing?
You're doing good. You look good. Out here you're in the bright sun. It's making your beard look all shiny. You look all pristine, with the white with the white tee as well. You're looking fresh. So
I got the white tee. The white tee's glowing in the sunlight. I am obviously broadcasting from my car tonight on location in my super secret location that I'm at right now. Like I texted you earlier today, man, just got a ton going on. So I appreciate you heading up the show today, taking
Absolutely.
care of all the technical stuff. We probably won't have any technical difficulties tonight because I'm not dealing with the technical part of the show. So shout out to the fans. They won't have any technical difficulties probably. But yeah, man, it's been a good day. It's been a busy day. I just got to where I need to go tonight. So it'll probably be a little bit of a shorter show for myself. But tis what it is. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to talk Clemson football. It's another great week to be a Clemson Tiger. We got another great commit, albeit not in the 2024 class quite yet. Those are still to come, but a huge commit in the 2025 class. And I couldn't think of a better team to root for, man. Our Clemson Tigers are on a roll. Everybody was wishing us dead, but guess what? Dabo Swinney's still here. We're still here. And they're going to have to come see us in 2023, man. They're going to have to come see us this year. So I'm feeling good tonight, man.
Absolutely. See some more people in the chat. Jeremiah's in here. What's up? Steel Gamble. Good to see you, man. Go Tigers. Yeah, Car Stream.
Yeah.
It's the Car Stream episode.
Episode. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. Jeremiah's Payne comes in again. He says, Blake Hebert commits tomorrow. Hope he is all in. Yeah, we will be talking about him. I think the news will be very, very positive on that front. But before we talk about him, let's talk about the commit that Clemson did get yesterday. About 11:45 a.m. something like that. I think that was when he announced.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you guys were paying attention to that commitment, if you were watching, and because he committed on Instagram Live, he committed on Facebook as well, and so they went live. It was scheduled to go for 11:45. I think they started around 11:50. So pretty much at the time that was scheduled. But if you were following and kind of watching closely, you probably got and if you have the ESPN app, you probably got a notification on your phone at like 11:50, like 11:45, 11:50. Saying that Gideon Davidson, who we're talking about, the 2025 running back, top 100 kid, that he had already committed to Clemson. So that was pretty interesting. ESPN decided to spoil the commitment. They had a whole article up and ready. They were just waiting to post it, and they posted it before he had even finished, before he'd even actually announced. They were still his dad was still talking and all of that. So that was goofy. I was a little mad about that. I tweeted at ESPN. I added their account. I was like, y'all couldn't wait 10 minutes.
I know, right?
So
they just had to steal Clemson's thunder on that one, man.
they did.
That's messed up, man.
But it was a really nice ceremony. There were a lot of 2025 kids, a lot of big time 2025 kids that were in the live chat, talking about Clemson and, we teaming up, most notably 2025 offensive tackle David Sanders from a Providence Day, probably Clemson's biggest target on the offensive line in the 2025 class. He was in there. You saw a lot of the 2024 kids in there as well. David Jumame was in there. You saw Christian Benker. There were a lot of recruits and commits all in that live chat, all talking about Clemson. So it was a really cool thing to see. But it was a really nice ceremony. If you guys don't know Gideon's story, it's a really cool story. He was born in Ghana. I think he was one of 3 siblings, I believe, and they were orphaned at a very young age. They were adopted by an American family, and they stayed with them for a couple of years, but then they ended up back in the orphanage, and they were put up for adoption again before they were adopted by their current family. So just a really, really cool story. A kid that probably wasn't supposed to be here, just given his circumstances, but he was taken in by a really, really awesome family, and they raised him, and he's about to live his dream. I mean, he's been a Clemson fan for a really long time. He's had a great relationship with the staff for a really long time. I think they had been talking to each other for at least 2 years, and he had a great relationship with CJ Spiller. So it was a really, really cool thing to see. But this is a really, really momentous commitment for the 2025 class. This is the kind of kid that you want to build your class around. He's a great leader. He's a guy that is well respected by his peers, and he's going to attract other guys, other players to play with him. So this is a really, really big time commitment.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I watched this commitment video with, all the people in the stands, and he kind of faked them out with the whole box. The Clemson hat was still in the box, and all that kind of stuff, man. It's really cool to see. That's a cool story about him as well. It's kind of crazy, all the twists and turns that life has kind of thrown at this guy. And he ends up in a place like Clemson. He seems to be really the prototypical Clemson commit that Dabo Swinney kind of goes after, right? Dabo Swinney's kind of got his type that he really goes after as far as, Clemson commits. And I couldn't be prouder as a Clemson fan for our 2025 class to get kicked off with a guy like that. And shout out to CJ Spiller as well, man. Like, how about him wrapping up another great running back early on in the class, like he did last season, or in last class as well. A lot of talk was made about him, maybe not being the best recruiter. Maybe he doesn't, everybody was a little bit worried about that, and he seems to have locked up his dudes, both in the 2023 class and the 2024 class. The 2024 class, and the 2025 class pretty early. So it seems to be CJ Spiller has figured it out. If he didn't know how to do it before, he has certainly learned on the job very quickly, and he has got a super, uber talented running back room, both currently and pushing forward as far as the Clemson running back room goes. He has locked up tons of talent for years to come in that Clemson running back room. Clemson's recruiting continues to snowball. I know a lot of will be made about it going into the season. A lot will be made about the Clemson-Florida State game because they have gone about building their team so differently, right? I've heard, you hear a lot of national media types and stuff talk about it, and like Josh Payton and other guys in the media have talked about it, and they've mentioned it that kind of Clemson and Florida State are kind of on a collision course this year as far as philosophy on how to build a roster. Obviously, as a Clemson fan, and all the Clemson fans listening to us right now, they know Dabo Swinney's philosophy on recruiting. They know his philosophy on how to build a roster. He is focused on high school recruits. He will take, I believe, he will take more and more transfer portal players as it comes, but that's a case by case basis, and that's going to be only to fill holes. I don't ever really see Dabo Swinney, barring something unforeseen, really building a team out of the transfer portal like a Florida State has done with Mike Norvell, right? I don't really see Dabo ever going about it like that. I think he will always focus on high school recruiting first. So they really are on a collision course with Florida State and things like that. So yeah, we'll see what happens when the chips fall on the field this season. So
Absolutely. But what are we getting for those of you that aren't initiated or aren't familiar? What are we getting in four-star running back Gideon Davidson? Well,
absolutely.
Running back, 6 foot, 193 pounds, from Liberty Christian Academy in Lynchburg, Virginia, class of 2025. He is rated as the number 67 overall player in the country, number 4 running back in the 24/7 Sports Composite, number 3 in their in-house rankings, and the second best player in the entire state of Virginia. What I really like about this kid, and it's something that I've talked about pretty much. We talked about it on Twitter yesterday, last night. For those of you that are in the Twitter spaces that we do, I know Go Tigers is a frequent speaker in our Twitter spaces. So if you guys aren't on Twitter, I think it would be really cool because we're trying to build that community over there too. So if you want to check that out as well. But we were talking about Gideon Davidson and what his film kind of shows, and really, it's just the thing that stands out to me is really just his patience as a runner. He has the frame and the size and really the breakaway speed that you want in a running back, but he's powerful, great contact balance, and he's a very patient runner. I was talking about it yesterday with another Clemson friend of mine, and he said that he kind of Gideon reminds him of James Davis, which is it's a pretty lofty comparison, but I see it, and I think that's the kind of running back that Clemson is getting, and he's just a really, really phenomenal player. I think he's going to be possibly even higher by the time the cycle ends. The kid can flat out play. He's great speed. He's I believe he's a wrestling champion as well. He's a multi-sport athlete. So this is the kind of athlete that Clemson typically likes to get. They love two-sport athletes. And you guys can kind of read the scouting report here from Brian Doan on him. Really, really like his prospects, and especially considering where Clemson is trending as far as what they're recruiting on the offensive line, and obviously the scheme they brought in with Garrett Riley. I really like this addition, and this is a great piece to build your 2025 class around. But yeah. This is a really, really big time commitment, and I'm excited to see who else joins. Hint, hint. Possibly somebody joining tomorrow. So we'll see.
Oh man, we could only hope. Clemson's obviously still on a roll with the recruiting, both in 2024 and 2025. Obviously, and man, I tell you. Clemson's recruiting is like none other. When you really when because for all our fans out there that are watching the show right now, I have never really delved deep into recruiting as a college football fan for the most part. And I've really just started getting into it a little bit last year, and then really this year as well is where I really started diving deep into it and kind of learning about the recruits and doing things like that. And it definitely makes the off season super interesting. It makes a lot of storylines. It makes a ton of things to talk about and think about and kind of dream about your future team and stuff like that. But at the same time, man, Clemson does it different. You hear these recruits talk about Clemson recruiting weekends, such as the one that just passed. We still got the All-In Cookout to come up later in July.
Yep.
So that's another big recruiting point for Clemson. They've always done the All-In Cookout, but they've added the addition of that early June kind of recruiting weekend. So we got two big events now in the summer as far as Clemson recruiting goes. And according to the recruits, man, I've never been on a Clemson visit, uh, but according to these recruits, man, they do it right. And you hear Jason Priester and other people that are really close to the program cover it, and they talk about how different the weekends are and how they plan it and really how they set it up. And you hear people like Sammy Brown and Brian Wesco and TJ Moore and all those dudes that recruited basically that weekend. I think every single one of those dudes basically told the coaching staff that weekend leaving they were committing to Clemson. So they do it different. They know what they're doing. They know the type of dudes that they want to bring in, and I think that's important because a lot of schools do it a lot of different ways, but I think Clemson's one of the unique schools, and I don't think they're unique just to be unique. I don't think they just go about things a different way just to say that they go about things a different way. When a guy gets a Clemson offer, it's a big deal, right? Because they really do limit their offers. They don't just throw out blanket offers out there to pretty much everybody that they see that they're like, yeah, maybe we would like this guy to come in, right? So, I think that's something to be proud of as Clemson fans, and I think it's something that makes a Clemson offer different. I think it's what makes our recruiting weekends different. And I think it's part of what makes them so successful about what they do.
Absolutely. And to your point, it's just I think the biggest thing with this 2024 class and this 2025 class, just from and you kind of alluded to it, is the buy-in from these kids. I think this staff has done a phenomenal job with these two classes in particular and getting that kind of buy-in. They really believe that they're building themselves into a championship roster again.
Yep.
That's what when TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco committed, they were talking about bringing wide receiver U back.
Yep.
You go back to even the 2023 cycle, with Peter Woods and some of the other commits in that class. They said we want to win a national championship. I think the buy-in from the 2024 cycle, 2023, and this 2025 cycle, they're doing a really, really good job of getting the kids that really believe in what Clemson is about, but also selling them on the idea of winning a national championship and bringing Clemson kind of back to the top of college football. And the buy-in has been just really awesome to see. And it makes me really excited for the future as far as Clemson recruiting and the kind of talent that they're going to be bringing in, because the official visit weekend was loaded with talent. The Dabo Sweeney camp that week as well, with a lot of 2025 kids, was loaded with talent.
Yep.
And a lot of those kids came away with really, really positive things to say about Clemson. And I think Clemson did a good job of putting themselves as a front runner for a good bit of them. And so I'm really excited to see how this how this 2024 class shakes out, but also this when we get to that, get time to talk more about the 2025 class, what that class could be, because I'm telling you that 2025 class has some dudes. It's the best I've seen in a good bit. And Clemson has their eyes on a lot of really, really big time kids in that class. So I'm really excited to see just kind of how that class could possibly shake out. So the future is bright, regardless of what, the national media or other fan bases want to say about this program. They're bringing in dudes. Clemson is always going to be at the forefront. As long as Dabo Swinney is the head coach, and they continue to recruit like they do, they're going to be in the national championship conversation. So I'm really excited just from these developments, and I think a lot of other Clemson fans should be excited as well.
Yeah, it's really crazy. The momentum that Clemson builds in the summertime as far as their recruiting. And we've mentioned on the program before and on the show before about we just started this June official visit weekend last year, and it's paid dividends. Obviously, last year we saw the dividends that it paid for that class, and it's already started paying dividends this year. And I believe it's only going to get bigger from here. That is going to that weekend, I think, is going to start becoming, it pretty much already is, the primary recruiting weekend for Clemson in the summer. And then the All-In Cookout will start becoming the secondary weekend, which used to be the one and only kind of big recruiting event that Clemson did in the summertime. So now we got two big recruiting events, but I do believe the June one is kind of that big one. And then maybe that All-In Cookout becomes kind of the closer of the summer, and then you roll into fall camp and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. All right. Let me see what you guys are talking about in the live chat. Tougher Billy Paul comes in and says, "I wish we could get the 2024 and 2025 players right now this year." Yeah, man. Clemson has done a really good job with this class. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Imagine getting a guy like Bryant Wesco or TJ Moore in in the building right now. Sammy Brown. They've got some really, really talented kids already committed in both of these classes that could definitely be impact players. But
with that said, make no mistake about it, Clemson has talent in that wide receiver room right now.
Yeah.
I know it has underperformed. I know there are question marks headed into this season, and there should be question marks headed in this season, especially for the wide receiver room. There should be, somewhat some question marks along the offensive line and so on as far as the offense goes. But I truly do think the scheme is going to help. I think that Cade Klubnik will be, much improved this season. It's his show. He knows it's his show. He knows that if he makes a mistake, there's not DJ Uiagalelei breathing down his neck, right? He throws one interception, i.e., the Notre Dame game where he came in for basically one series, threw an interception, and then we didn't see him for the rest of the game. We've talked about that in length on this channel, right? But I think he will. I think he's going to have a renewed confidence in his position on the team, and honestly, it's time to show up or show out for those receivers, right? You got to Adam Randall. You have a Bo Collins. Bo Collins needs to put together a really good season this year. This is kind of his year. This is kind of the year that I would expect Bo Collins to break out if he's going to. I think it's this year or no years for Bo Collins. Not that he couldn't improve also next season. I'm just saying I think this could be a really big breakout year for a guy like Bo Collins, for a guy like Adam Randall, who's been, super injured. Maybe a Troy Stellato, who's we've never seen on the field basically, right? And then obviously we know what Antonio Williams did last year, but I think this offense is really primed to make a strong recovery. Um, will it be a flawless offense? I don't think so. I think year two will be much better than year one under Garrett Riley, but I do think we see marked improvement this year, and I think it's a much different offense than we saw in 2022.
Absolutely. And, to your point, I think what you put on the field, this year can go a long way towards securing, some of your remaining, big time targets in the
Yeah,
2024 class, and also really paving the way for the 2025 class as well. So this is a
absolutely.
big year in a lot of respects because you're trying to, Clemson is trying to reassert itself as one of the premier programs in college football, trying to
Yep,
get its credibility back on offense, get its swagger back on offense. So, um, yeah, to your point, the wide receivers they have to have a big year, not only because Clemson's offense needs it, but because there's going to be some dudes coming in behind them that will be willing and able to take their spots. Um, so there's a lot of pressure for Clemson, a lot of competitive pressure for Clemson offensively going into this season. So
which is good.
yeah,
Which
it's
is
good.
good.
That's what you want. That's what you want.
Yep,
Every big time program deals with this kind of pressure. So um,
absolutely.
all right, that's not the only recruiting news that we have to talk about.
You
Um,
don't say.
yeah, no, because Clemson very possibly could have its quarterback for the 2025 class. Um,
Mm,
a man by the name of Blake Hebert. Um,
Blake
2020.
Hebert.
Yes, Blake
Ne-
Hebert.
Never heard of him. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, it wouldn't be. I mean, you wouldn't surprise me if you hadn't heard of him because I mean, he was kind of relatively unknown until, at least to Clemson fans, until he came to the Dabo Sweeney camp last
Yeah,
week,
yeah.
along with a lot of big time quarterbacks, a lot of big time 2025 recruits. Um, and he was able to leave with an offer. He had such a strong camp that the staff was blown away, and they felt like they wanted to offer him. Um, so I mean, yeah, he's kind of a relatively unknown, but
I
uh,
mean, like, put yourself in that dude's shoes, man. You come to a Clemson camp without an offer, without even a thought of an offer, honestly, and you ball out to the point where you impress the Clemson staff that they basically offer you on the spot. I mean, what a performance, man! Like, shout out to that kid, man, because that takes guts, man. That takes hard work. That means that dude is working when nobody's looking. That means that dude is putting in the work. He is absolutely just grinding when no one's looking because you don't just show up to a camp like a Dabo Sweeney camp, like a caliber of team that Clemson is, and blow away coaches like that without a lot of work when nobody's looking. So shout out to him, man. I'm super proud of him, man. And it looks like the Clemson coaches kind of zeroed in on him over the 2-day camp.
absolutely. But yeah, kind of give a little profile on him. Blake Hebert. I almost want to say I keep wanting to say Herbert because my brain sees it, but it is Hebert. And no, it's not like Hey Bear or anything like that. Like Bobby, it's Blake Hebert.
So it's
Shout out to
not
Paul
like so
Strelo
it's not
over at Rivals.
so it's not like Justin Herbert of the Chargers. It's
No,
not like Hebert. Uh,
no, it
cool,
is
cool,
Hebert.
cool. It is Hebert. Okay,
It
okay.
is Hebert.
I used
Shout out to Paul Strelo. He was able to kind of get the lowdown on that and kind of confirm it for me because I wasn't sure. I thought it might be Hey Bear, but it wasn't. It is Hebert. But yeah, Blake Hebert, 6'3", 205. quarterback out of Central Catholic High School in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Currently rated as a 3-star in 24/7 Sports in-house rankings, 19th rated quarterback and number 1 in Massachusetts. But he's a 4-star composite, a top 200 player nationally, the number 11 quarterback, and the number 1 player in the state of Massachusetts.
Wow.
You know, when I watched this, when I watched his film, I think the thing that really stood out to me was one, just his ball placement. I think he has a phenomenal deep ball. He throws with anticipation. He's got a really nice compact release, and yeah, I mean, I was not expecting his tape to be as good as it was.
Yeah.
Just watching him, I think he's got great size for the position already. Keep in mind he was a he was just a sophomore this past year, so he's got even more developing to do, and he'll be a junior this year. But I think he's already really physically developed, for his age, and he's got a really, really great arm. And from the reports coming out of the Dabo Swinney camp, the staff liked him more than 5-star quarterback George McIntyre, who was also there at the camp, and thought that they were thought that there wasn't much difference between the two. So that was enough. Garrett Riley was really liked him, and watching the tape, you can kind of see why, given the kind of quarterbacks that Garrett Riley's had in his offenses in previous years. But he's got, I mean, not only is he a really, really good, not only does he have a really good arm, he has really good speed too. It's not, he doesn't like really show off his running ability on tape very much.
Yeah.
He's great on the move. He was timed at a 4.64 at 40, which is a really, really good quarterback time. That would be one of the best quarterback times in the draft combine this year. So I think the kid is really, really underrated. I could totally see him watching him. He strikes me as a top 100 type quarterback. So I really could see him I could see him raising his stock a ton his junior year. And I think that just watching the high school offense that he played in, he really didn't throw the ball all that much. So he didn't really get a chance to show off his arm talent as much as some of the other quarterbacks in this class. But they liked him more than George McIntyre. They liked him more than Antoine Hill, who was also there, the 4-star quarterback at the Dabo Swinney camp, who has a cannon for an arm. So, I really trust this evaluation, and the more I watch his tape and the more I think about the kind of offense he's going to be playing in, the more I'm sold on him. And
yeah, I heard a lot about Hill and McIntyre battling it out in camp. And then, this kind of dude just comes out of nowhere. It's kind of crazy. I felt like McIntyre was kind of the lead heading into camp, at least from the recruiting reports that I've read, and kind of how the recruiting or how the coaching staff felt about him, and kind of how he performed. And then, this kind of dude came out and just earned an offer the old-fashioned way, So.
Yes, go Tigers. I would consider him a sneaky runner. Yeah, that's a little inside joke from the Twitter Spaces.
Yeah.
But he really is a really good runner. And he didn't really get to show it much on tape, but he's got verified speed. And that's the kind of, considering Garrett Riley likes to use his quarterbacks in the run game. And he's also physically developed enough. He's already, it says he's 205 here, but he's listed at his high school is like 6'4", 215, just depending on where you look. So he's he's already a pretty stocky, big quarterback. He's definitely bigger than Cade was coming out.
Big body dude, man. Big body dude.
Yeah, he's got some size on him, but it's good enough. But he moves well enough that you can use him in the run game and not really have to worry about how durable he is. So,
right.
That's really, really good. And as you can see, he has 3 crystal balls in for Clemson, 2 from Steve Wilkfong and Brian Doan, 2 of the big recruiting analysts over at 24/7 Sports. So he announces tomorrow. I'm blanking on the time at the moment. But yeah, he will be announcing his decision tomorrow. He's deciding between Notre Dame. Trying to remember the other schools in his recruit. I know Notre Dame was interested in him. I'm blanking, but a lot of big schools. He's got some really good offers. I could just scroll down and look. You can see.
There you go.
You can see his offer list. I can just pull it up. You see, I forget sometimes that I actually have control of the stream now, so I can I can actually pull up stuff when I need to. But you can see the offer list here. You see Auburn, DC, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Ole Miss, Rutgers, Virginia Tech. So really, really big time. A lot of Power 5 offers. His stock has kind of been rising in the past year, and I think it's going to continue to rise as well. So just a really, really big time. This would be a big time get, and it's a huge deal to get a quarterback in early for the 2025 class because quarterbacks are just when you have a quarterback in your classes, it makes a lot of other things a lot easier because recruits want to play with good quarterbacks, and you're going to be able to attract skill position talent. I mean, the quarterbacks are definitely usually the primary recruiters in your recruiting class. So not even just offensive talent, but also on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Everybody, yeah.
Quarterbacks just if you're good, people will follow you. So this would be a really, really nice get for Clemson. And I'm a huge George McIntyre fan. But when I watched Blake Hebert's film, I definitely saw what the appeal was for this staff, and I would not be mad if this is the quarterback that Clemson ends up taking. So, yeah.
Well, that's
Blake Hebert, everyone.
Big. That's big.
So you potentially have a quarterback and a running back super duper early in your 2025 cycle, and it's especially interesting given the past couple of seasons where you had to wait a little bit longer, especially for running back.
Think about that before the calendar turns to July. In the 2025 class, Clemson has both the quarterback and RB1 and QB1 wrapped up for the 2025 class. That would be epic. That would be, really, really good. I was going to ask you, while we're still on the topic of recruiting, and I'm still here, what was kind of your take on Wilfong kind of crystal balling Houston to Ohio State?
Yeah, Edgar Houston.
I know we're still in the running for him, and I definitely think Clemson is 100% still in the running. I don't think it's a given thing by any means, but there is something to say about the crystal balls. I mean, they do have insider information. They do have somewhat privileged information that they get because of who they work for and the work that they do. So. I was interested to see your kind of take on that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Edgar Houston, I think he's high on both Clemson and Ohio State. I think it's going to come down to those two. Given the stuff he said about the kind of scheme he wants to play in, and the fact that Georgia and Alabama kind of would want him more as an inside guy and not necessarily a 5-tech where he wouldn't be having to just eat up blocks and play a lot of double teams. So I think Clemson and Ohio State were the most appealing to him, and I think he's high on both. I mean, I think the crystal ball definitely matters. It matters a ton, and it's definitely worth noting. But I don't think Clemson's out of it. I don't think this is a done deal. And I think it's going to come down to those two. He still has his official visit to Ohio State coming up, so we'll see. But hey, Larry Johnson as a defensive ends coach, he's been in the business a really really long time at Ohio State. He has a really big reputation, and he gets the kids he wants a lot of the time. So
right.
You're kind of fighting an uphill battle. Just by the fact of going up against a guy like that. He's developed some really big time defensive ends in his career, so he kind of has that pedigree to sell. But I think Clemson is definitely still in it. We'll see how it goes. I'm not necessarily down, or I don't think that recruitment is over yet. So we'll see how everything shakes out when he's fully done with officials, and we'll see if he makes it back to the all-in cookout and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And we'll see it from there. But I'm not too. I don't think too much of it right now. Is what I'll say.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I feel you. That makes sense. I got about 15 minutes left here, man. Before I got to cut out and do my thing. So I'm ready to talk about anything at this point.
Yeah.
Talk about anything.
Well, I don't want to drag the show out, too long. I'll probably, when it's time for you to go, I'll take a few more questions and then and it'll be a little bit of a shorter show, but don't want to drag it out too much, if we don't have to. So
Absolutely.
You guys get your recruiting questions, general Clemson questions, life questions if you want. Ask us anything.
Yeah. If you want to know where I'm at.
Yeah. No. My social security number.
My credit card number.
3 digits on the back. I'll give you my PIN number for my my bank account.
My address. What else can I get? A photocopy of my birth certificate.
Yeah, I'll send you multiple of those.
Oh man!
If you need my driver's license, I'll give you that too.
For sure. Yeah,
I mean, whatever you need. My
whatever
insurance.
whatever you guys need. Whatever you guys need. Me and Jordan Bowman, we are here for you. We are serving the people. We are serving the Clemson fan base.
Absolutely.
That is what we are here for.
Jeremiah says, I think we can still get Bolden and Matthews. Hey, never say never.
Yes, we can.
Matthews more so than Bolden. I actually, in the past week or so, I started to feel more and more optimistic about Mike Matthews. We'll see how it goes. Man. He has his official visit this weekend with USC, and he's got Tennessee afterwards at the end.
There was a lot said about him tweeting about Clemson on his Georgia visit, right? Yeah. And kind of the cryptic message, and did he mean this? Did he mean that? So on and so forth. I honestly, you can't speculate any of these dudes, man. You honestly don't know what they're thinking or why they're, putting out the messages that they're putting out. But, what I will say is that I trust Clemson and I trust the impact that it has on players. Because I've been there as a fan. I've been there, from the time I was growing up, all the way through. And the way that they do stuff since Dabo Swinney has got there is different. And, there's something to say about, kind of how Clemson does it. And, maybe he was trolling. Maybe he was, just saying, thank you, Clemson, thanks, but no thanks, like some people think. Maybe he was like, Clemson's way better than this visit that I'm on right now. Who knows what he was thinking? But the fact that he's thinking about Clemson, I think is not necessarily a bad thing. That's what I'll say. So I could see us landing Matthews for sure.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, especially given just how much his family raved about Clemson on their visit. I think the staff did a really good job of playing to the family, the parents, the mom.
Yep.
Especially they always Clemson always does a good job with the moms, and those have won a lot of recruitments.
Yeah,
in the
they're good at it, man. They know how to do it. They know how to do it, man.
Especially if you get Miss Sweeney Cat in a room with the recruits' parents. Hey, she's one of the best. She's not officially on staff, but she's one of our best recruiters. That's for sure.
You know what Kathleen Sweeney is? She's a closer.
Yeah,
she's a closer. You get mom and dad on campus. She kind of pulls mom to the side, gets her locked into a space by themselves, and she's selling Clemson. So she's definitely a closer. I fully believe that she's a closer for Clemson. So
John's craving in a van down by the river. That always
Dang.
gets. You know what's Craven?
Okay. All right. You know what's funny about this? Okay. I'm at the VA to get X-rays. Full disclosure. I'll go and put it out there because I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm at the VA to get X-rays because I'm a broke vet, obviously. And what's funny about what he just said is this car right here. I'll pan over to it. You see that red car right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I pan over to that. What's funny is like about 20 minutes into the show, I don't know if it was exactly 20 minutes, but at some point in the show, somebody pulled up beside me, and it was that red car. So I kept looking over, and it was this big, tall dude, and then he like put on his like security guard uniform, and like was like just staring at me the whole time while I'm doing the show. So you are correct, John Sarian. It does attract. I'm not in a van. I'm in a SUV. Regardless, it does attract the cops' attention or the security guard's attention, apparently, because he's since come back to his car like 2 times, and he stares at me every time he's come back to his car. So it's probably going to be interesting when I walk in there to my X-ray appointment to get the X-rays that I need. But yeah, that's kind of why we're ending the show early tonight, or at least why I'm leaving the show early tonight. Funny story. He had the sergeant stripes and everything, man. He was like official. He was official security. He wasn't
man, he was ready to pull you out the vehicle.
Yeah, bro. He was official security. I got scared. I was just staring at the camera. Like I was just like,
he was gonna snatch you on camera.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do, man.
Take you to the authorities.
Take me to the principal's office or whoever. I don't know where security guards take you. They can't take you to jail because they're not cops. So I don't know. Wherever the VA security guards take you, I guess that's where he was thinking about taking me.
Yeah. Oh man. Craven on the lamb, Craven on the run.
Yeah, I'm running from the police, for sure.
If Matthews or Coleman pop, then for sure Dabo will over. Yeah, absolutely. Those two are oversign worthy. If they want to come, they'll be in the class for sure.
Well, they can bring Matthews on as an athlete, so.
Yeah, they have that in their back pocket for Matthews.
They wouldn't even have to oversign for him. But I think if Coleman popped later, that could definitely be an oversign. Or like last year when EJ left, somebody could just leave mid-year and transfer. So you never know, and then that opens up a spot, and he can oversign a receiver before the early signing day in December. So
possibly
all that stuff's still open. I mean, anything could happen.
I think Lagway may flip once he sees how screwed Florida is. Yeah, I mean that would be cool. It would definitely change the calculus for your 2025 quarterback recruiting. There is no there is no like any sort of truth to or smoke to Lagway possibly flipping right now. But
yeah, for sure. And
it's probably a pipe dream.
I saw Jason Priester's. He does a live on his All Clemson channel, obviously every Monday, and he was talking about how that would have to really be something that Lagway opened up himself.
Yeah.
He seems to think that Clemson has closed the door completely on DJ Lagway. They're not recruiting him at all. They're not interested. So it would have to be something where he decommitted from Florida and then contacted the Clemson coaching staff and asked for that sort of thing to happen. So
yeah. And that's how it's worked in the past, pretty much.
Yeah, probably
out of that Clemson wanted and didn't get, and they wanted to be in the. There's a whole process that the kid has to show that they're actually serious about wanting to be in the class, and Dabo has a whole thing that they have to go through before. So if Lagway were to go through all those steps, we would know about it. But yeah, there's nothing suggesting that he's considering flipping right now.
Yeah, not completely out of the realm of possibility, but pretty much.
Anything can happen.
Pretty much out of the realm of possibility.
Definitely not something that's happening anytime soon. Maybe down the road.
Maybe if a coach gets fired mid-season or something like that, maybe. But
let me see.
Not sure. Yeah, not sure Dabo is a fan of Lagway anymore. Yeah,
I'm sure. No, it wasn't. I'm sure it was amicable. I mean, obviously he had to call the staff and say, "Hey,
it is what it is." Right? Yeah,
I'm not coming.
Yeah.
But it's I don't think the staff holds a grudge or anything. I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't think
because they wanted him.
I don't think they take it personal at all, and I think that's what some people kind of misconstrue about the process.
Yeah.
But Clemson really does have a very regimented process, and if you say no and you commit to somebody else, they take that as your word.
Yeah.
Right. Much like when you commit to Clemson, they expect you to shut it down. When you commit to another place, Clemson kind of shuts it down. They're like, okay, well, moving on to the next guy. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. With the way baseball went, does Will Taylor pursue baseball full time? I don't. There hasn't been any. I haven't heard anything about that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did because he's a great baseball player.
He's a really good baseball player.
He's a really, really good baseball player, and I honestly think he has a career in baseball if he wants it. But I mean, honestly, that's up to him. I don't think the coaching staff is looking to push him out in any way. I honestly think it's 100% up to Will Taylor and what he wants to do, whether he wants to pursue baseball full time or whether he wants to continue to split time between baseball and football. What I will say is next year's kind of his money year with baseball, right? So he does have a decision to make. He does. But with that said, I think it's his decision to make. I don't think he's getting pressure. I mean, I don't know from the baseball side, but I don't think he's getting any pressure from the football side to make a decision either way.
No.
I don't know. I don't know the baseball staff enough, and I don't follow them close enough to know. But nothing that I've heard from the football coaches would lead me to believe that they are going to force him to make a decision either way. So I think that's really a Will Taylor decision, and I wouldn't blame him if he chose baseball. Honestly, I wouldn't.
All right, let's see. I know you got to get going soon.
Yeah, I got a couple more minutes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were going in right at 8 or did you need to leave before. So, all right. Will comes in, our resident Notre Dame fan. What's up, Will?
Yeah, what's up, Will?
He says, "Are you guys confident in Wes Goodwin and Mickey Kahn?" I think so. I
Yes.
think I am.
Yes.
That doesn't sound very confident when you start with I think, but yes, I'm confident. Especially in Wes, I think he had to go through some growing pains last year. Just
Mm-hmm.
as a first time coordinator, I mean the guy
Yep.
isn't even 40 yet. He spent time as an analyst and it was elevated straight to a a coordinator role, not as a position coach. I mean, his previous experience was at various grad assistant and analyst jobs. He was with Bruce Arians and the Cardinals in an off-field role. So the guy, while he is a brilliant, I think Wes Goodwin is a brilliant defensive mind. I think he had a lot to learn about being an on-field coach, being a play caller, being the guy that designs the defense, calls the plays, and tells everybody and kind of coordinates that whole thing. And he even said himself, it was a difficult time. It was a difficult adjustment. He
Yep.
wasn't sure how to manage his time at times, and you know it was a learning process. But he has said this offseason that he is a lot more focused and a lot more organized in his thinking, and he has a plan and a routine now, and I mean, he's got to prove it at the end of the day. But I don't doubt his defensive intelligence. He's a brilliant football mind. If you can go on YouTube and watch him at coaching clinics, the kind of coaching clinics that Clemson holds, the dude, he knows ball. He knows ball, and he's very confident when he's talking about ball. So just kind of carrying that to the field, bringing more accountability out of his players, all of that. I think that those are things that I definitely look for him to improve on this year. But he's got a lot of talent to work with. Brought in a really nice class last year, so we'll have to see. But I believe in Wes. I think he's got the potential to be a really great defensive coordinator.
Yeah, absolutely. And this will be the last thing before I go, but I truly do believe in Wes. And I think there were growing pains last season. Did Clemson's defense underperform? Absolutely. They 100% underperformed as far as the personnel that they trotted out on the field. However, I think Wes Goodwin showed the ability to make adjustments. I think he showed the ability to grow throughout the season. And I think that pays dividends going into the off season, into spring practice, into the spring game, and then into summer and then fall camp. And I look for Wes Goodwin to make great strides in his second season as the play caller for the Clemson defense. So I 100% believe in him. I 100% believe in our defensive staff. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But honestly, if you're asking me today, I believe in Wes Goodwin. I believe in the defensive staff at Clemson. I believe in the coaching staff overall at Clemson. I believe in the offensive staff. Do I think there are certain coaches that have to prove themselves more than other coaches this season? Absolutely. I think you'd be crazy to say otherwise. But, I think all of our coaches are capable. I think they've been put on notice by Dabo Swinney. I think, he knows what Clemson is. He knows what he built there. And, he's let all his coaches know. They know what the standard is. They know what has to be achieved this season. So I have full confidence in our coaching staff. I think it's going to be a good season for Clemson. Our recruiting's on fire. Our coaching staff is rejuvenated, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And I look for a really productive season, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And I look for improved performance along the defensive side, especially if we can get some key playing time from some young edge rushers that we brought in this offseason.
Absolutely.
All right, man. I got to cut out. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody here in the chat. I don't know how many people we have, but thank you for coming in. Thank you for hanging out. I'm sorry I got to cut it short tonight, guys, but I got a lot going on tonight. I appreciate you guys coming up, showing out, getting in the comment section. Me and Jordan love doing this show. There's nobody I would rather do this show with than Jordan. He's probably one of the most knowledgeable Clemson fans that I know, and I take it as an honor to be able to do the show with you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for heading up the show tonight. Thank you for Will D stopping by as a Notre Dame fan. Thank you for all the other fans that have stopped by. But until next week, Tiger Paul Craven signing out, man. See you next time.
Hey, I got your bail money if you need it too.
Hey, man, I'll hit you up. I'll call you if I need my
Thanks.
All
right, later, man. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to wrap it up just yet. I'll take some more questions for maybe 10 more minutes. So you guys can continue to get those in. WB2DX says, how about Brent Venables returning to Clemson? Yeah, I definitely don't see that happening anytime soon. But hey, maybe if it goes wrong in Oklahoma, but I still have confidence in Brent Venables to get that ship righted. I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Is Jeff Scott back? Well, I mean, he kind of was. He was at a youth camp at Clemson, but yeah, no, he's not on the. Obviously, he's not on the staff in any capacity, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be, at least anytime soon. So, hey, but definitely expect to see him back sometime in the future. But hey, he's enjoying his buyout. USF is paying him to not work, so, and then he gets to spend time with his family and just kind of relax. So, I think the guy deserves it. He's put in a lot of work over the years. Hey, I think this is Jason. What's up, man? Yeah, it is. What's up? It's Jason Moose, our resident Michigan fan. Well, one of our resident Michigan fans. Good to see you, man. He says that Dabo is red hot on the recruiting trail. Yeah, man. He's been putting in work. Hey, Harbaugh's doing his thing too. They're in it some. They got a top 3 class right now, and they're in it for some big time names as well. So, it's Michigan's doing the thing on the trail. They're kind of parlaying those back to back playoff appearances into some really nice recruiting classes. He also says to hit the. Oh wait, no, that's Huffer Billy Paul. He says hit the thumbs up if you haven't. Yes, another reminder. It's also on the Tigger. Yeah, if you guys haven't hit the like button already, definitely helps us out. John gets in. He says Wes also didn't get much support from the offense last year. He was having to run his guys out a lot and scheme against competitors who were winning time of possession more often than not. Yeah, I agree. And I even charted it out. I have it in my notes app. I actually charted out the average starting field position for Clemson's opponents in 2021 versus 2022, and the difference is pretty stark. So, Clemson's defense definitely suffered a ton from poor field position because of some of the offensive issues last year. So, definitely did not help. And giving up explosive plays, with short yardage. Short yards to go combined with explosive pass plays is a recipe for a not great defensive play, to say the least. What are we talking about? Hey, D-Rock Irish, we got another Notre Dame fan in here. I see him a ton. He's a huge part of the Mark Rogers community. I've seen him in a lot of other college football live chats as well. Really, really awesome guy. Good to see you, man. He says Dabo isn't putting up with mediocrity. Keep an eye on them. No, he's not. He sent a message to the staff this past offseason. I mean, with the firing of Brandon Streeter, but also the staff, they had a literal staff meeting where Dabo said, hey, listen, love you guys like family. We've been through a lot together. But last year, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. That ain't it, man. Love you guys like family, but I am not afraid to blow this thing up if I have to. And I think I think the message was well received based off of what was reported. So, and you're starting to see some of those dividends. You're seeing more. I mean, it's already paying dividends on the recruiting trail, at least apparently. So we'll see what it looks like on the field. Go Tigers says Jordan knows ball. No, Go Tigers, you know ball as well. So don't. Yeah, you might know. I think you know more ball than me sometimes. He is a film savant. He watches more film than I breathe, I think. So okay, now we can misbehave. Hey, I mean, we kind of already do that anyway, but that's yeah, that you can kind of let loose right now. Jeremiah says, if anything was to happen to West, I would love to get Jim Leonard. Yeah, he is not employed right now, I don't think. Is he? I don't think he is. That would be an interesting get. That would be. He's consistently been one of the top defensive minds in college football, and everyone thought that he would get a head coaching job at some point. So, hey, but if he's not interested in that, and maybe Wes Goodwin doesn't work out, I think that would be a great hire, and he would have the better. Imagine Jim Leonard. I mean, as good as his defenses were at Wisconsin, imagine his defenses at Clemson with elite D line talent. So that would be interesting. Yeah. Any thoughts on DJU going pro? Well, after this season, if he has a big year, I could see it. I mean, the arm talent. No one's ever questioned his physical talent. Just the between the ears. I mean, he's a smart guy, but he just as a football player, just the game has not really come to him as well as an NFL draft scout would like. So he's got to fix some of his mechanics and a lot of that stuff before but I think his talent, his physical talent, his arm talent it makes him an intriguing draft prospect. So I'm hoping he has a nice year at Oregon State. Go into the Big Ten or the SEC. Well, we're staying put for now, but hopefully the SEC at some point. You reading about the NCAA siding with the IRS on NIL? Yeah, John, that's a big deal. I didn't want to, I don't like talking about that kind of stuff on this show too much, but it is a big deal, especially for Clemson's collective because they are classified as a nonprofit organization. And before the government ruled that collectives could be classified as nonprofit, but now the IRS has come out and said that no, these are actually business expenses, and they are not tax exempt. So that is a big deal for Clemson, with Tiger Impact and their collective system, because and a lot of other collectives as well. So it's a very big deal for college football in the NIL landscape for sure. Jason comes in and he says, yes, Michigan recruiting is about to heat up. Our OV weekend went really well. I'm expecting 5 or 6 commits soon. Can't wait. I know you're battling the Buckeyes for a few of them, so I'm interested to see how those play out. As a neutral observer, it's fun to watch you two fan bases go at it. We're talking about the ticket prices and hotel prices for the Notre Dame game have to come down before I can go. The prices are insane. Yeah, they always are at this time of the year. The Florida State game is bad as well. I expect them to come down. You'll be able to get cheaper tickets in the secondary market as well. But yeah, it's for now it's going to be pretty premium. But you got to. But if you want good seats, and especially if you want to get a good hotel in those weeks, it's good to plan out and go ahead and book those. But that's kind of how these things work. Clemson is is one of those towns that you've got to always game day. It's always going to be crazy. So. Hey, Courtney Craven is in the chat. That's the Tiger Paw Craven's wife. She comes in and says, "Stay in easily, much cheaper hotel prices." Yeah, I know a lot of people that do that. That's always a good option. And I mean, Easley is only about 25 minutes from Clemson, so it's not a long drive at all. And you go straight down 123 and you go straight into Clemson. So it's not what you wouldn't be taking any major highways or anything like that either. So it's a good idea. Will comes in and says, "I'm rooting for DJU. Seems like a good guy. Yeah, great kid. Nobody's ever questioned that. He's represented Clemson very, very well. And so I'm rooting for him." Or stay in. Yeah, but Anderson is definitely the thing with Anderson. That is definitely a little bit more populated, and it's a little bit of a farther drive. But yeah, I think Easley would be I like Easley. It's kind of the way to go. You're close to a lot of stuff. You're right on the highway, the state highway, and there's a lot of stuff around you. So yeah. Anderson is painful. That traffic can get bad at times. But yeah, Easley typically is not terrible going into Clemson. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna end the show for tonight. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. Shorter show tonight. Obviously Tiger Paw Craven. He had his stuff going on, but really great week for Clemson recruiting. Got a commit yesterday. Could very potentially be getting one tomorrow. Make sure you tune into that. But I think Blake Hebert is announcing his commitment at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So, make sure you guys tune into that because Clemson could very well be getting their quarterback for the 2025 class. So, but yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button on the way out. I am Jordan Bowman. I will see you guys next week, Thursday, 7 p.m.